All right, everybody. Hey, welcome to Note Night in America, this special edition of Note Night America here on August the 17th. Hopefully, you all had a great weekend. Hopefully, it wasn't too hot where you guys were at. It was hot here, but probably not as hot as other places. But anyway, welcome to Note Night in America, everybody. Glad to have you all here. We are recording this, and I think you're going to get a lot out of tonight's webinar. So, if you guys are joining us for the first time, these calls are recorded. You can always catch the replays by going to weclosenotes.tv to catch all of our previous Note Night in America webinars, along with other videos we have out there. That will take you directly to our We Close Notes YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe button while you're there so you're alerted of all updates and news that are going on with the different trainings that we offer up or the other educational videos or podcast episodes we have on there as well. And always check out our podcast. We've got a variety of information on these podcasts. Of course, we have the Note Night in America podcast. Love for you guys to listen to. If you can't watch it, you can always listen to the replays on there. They're usually up within a week or two. Or you can always check out weclosenotes.com, which has a variety of the not only videos, but trainings, events that we offer up. You can always get a fully transcribed version of the podcast on there as well, along with our large podcast, the Note Closer Show podcast out there with over 600,000 downloads, 30 million plus listeners, and we're excited to be celebrating the 3-year anniversary this Friday of the NCS show there. So anyway, a couple events that are upcoming you guys may want to mark your calendars for. Not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, August the 26th from 1 to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll have our August Calling Bank section. That's right. You'll get a chance to watch, listen, and learn as I dial for dollars on a variety of banks for 4 to 5 hours on a Wednesday afternoon. That's right, literally calling banks. You can hear the conversations. You can see what you can listen to what I'm saying. You can see what my response is, my follow-up. You can actually ask questions live. It is a great event. We did it last time, about a month and a half ago, and it was just great. People loved it. Over 75, 80 people on the call. We expect to have that amount anyway as well, too. If you'd like to reserve your spot to listen in, we do it via Zoom like this. You can go to callingbanks.com and RSVP. That's right, callingbanks.com to watch me. And my goal is going to deal into a little bit what we're going to talk about tonight on tonight's call. So I'll be calling roughly the 100 banks that we're going to probably be talking a little about tonight on tonight's call. So it's definitely something, and some banks with some very severely distressed assets out there. So join me next Wednesday, August the 26th from 1 to 5 p.m. That's Central Standard. That's Austin time. And get your spot there. As of always, the next event we also have come up is this Saturday. We have our Note Weekend training for $49, which includes a ticket to the Calling Banks training as well. So it's a bonus that's thrown in there. Also includes a list to the Bauer Financial List, which we'll be talking about tonight. But this Saturday, from roughly 9 to 5, 9 to 6, all day this Saturday, I'll be teaching August version of the Note Weekend class. You can always sign up at noteweekend.com. and take advantage of getting signed up there to get the replays and over $1,000 in bonuses as well for you guys. So check it out at noteweekend.com. Love to have you guys join me this Saturday as we dive into the Cliff Notes version of Note Investing. I was working on the manual, updating a few things, a few videos, a few links, and really making it top notch for everybody out there as well. So, but are there any questions about that before we dive into our main feature tonight, targeting banks out there? So we can all agree, everybody, hopefully you're doing well, all agree it's been a little chaotic out there, right? Total chaotic. Now I was thinking, sitting here today, actually just sitting here last night too, like what am I going to talk about? I'm thinking about a variety of things to teach about, and I wanted to harbor a topic that would add value, but I think a lot of us would agree that many people have been sitting kind of limbo, waiting to see what's going on. Rob asked a question, how much does the Bauer list change from month to month? It varies as the number of banks increase. So we'll get to that later on. The Bauer Financial List is usually somewhere between $300 and $400 per month, so it varies. But anyway, I sit here thinking, okay, what would be a good topic? We've talked a little about raising capital, talked about some other things last couple of weeks. I said, let's dive into what I would be doing this month, doing it right now, which we are basically. Where to focus, where to target and stuff. So let's talk about the targeted banks. And I don't want to overstress anybody like, oh, there's a ton of lending institutions out there. Where do I begin? Because that's always the first question people ask. I don't know where the heck to begin. So the first thing I want to think about is I was sitting here talking with a friend last night and then fall back up this morning. And it often feels like it's a Kmart special kind of day, right? Remember Kmart and the blue light specials? Attention, Kmart shoppers. We have a blue light special in aisle 6 for Depends, or baby food, or in automotive, for, the Kmart blue light special. Well, I'll tell you right now, everybody, it feels like America is a Kmart blue light special, especially on the commercial debt and some of the distressed out there. It can be a little rough based on what we're seeing on. And I'm going to tell you this, it will get worse out there. A lot of people aren't talking about things like we are. There's an article that came out in DS News today, and another one, Housing Wire, talked about kind of the forte for a lot of investors in the distressed space, not knowing what to do or where to begin or what to focus on. And I think you're going to like tonight's topic for the most part. So, but literally, let's talk about it, because at the end of this month, literally in 2 weeks from today, 2 weeks from today, today's being the 17th, ends the forbearance, as I say, Part A. Now, what does that mean? Well, it ends because of a couple things. One, first and foremost, the government-backed loan forbearance, where they're putting a cease on evictions and foreclosures if your government-backed loan, ends August 31st. All right? That's a 6-month period that is coming to an end. That was the Part A. Now, why do I say Part B or Part A? Because the plan is on Jenny, Fannie, Freddie, and stuff like that, is already in place. This was in place 4 or 5 months ago, roughly in March when this thing all kicked off, is that they were already planning to have a second 6-month period if people needed it. This is on the residential side, okay? A second 6-month period to offer up to people that are government-backed loans for a second loan forbearance agreement. Already out there. It's already been on the talks. Nothing new, so don't, when people start saying, we're going to go ahead and extend it in some cases, it's already been talked about. It was already on a conference call. I've seen the slides. I was there, seen the replays and stuff like that. They've already talked about doing a second series. So this does not include, though, your non-government, your non-QM loans, your investor, or even your commercial loans, okay? So hopefully you guys will take heed to this, that things are going to get very different here in the next 90 days. For some states that are already going back to evictions and foreclosure, that's already taking place, some things, okay? But you have to look at, and if you've been on any of my Note Nation Top 40 webinars, you've seen or heard me talk about that the banks have had roughly 6 months to evaluate their portfolio. Not quite 6, but pretty close to it. And they can know who's the good borrowers, who's the bad, and what loans are going to be ugly. They already know. They've been working through that. Trust me on this. They know, because they're not sitting around with the algorithms that FICO offers and their algorithms. I've had some interesting conversations with bankers, even on loans that were performing, or borrowers have been paying that bank or the different banks out there for years, if not decades in some case, okay? So it's going to be an interesting, kind of a very kind of, I don't think things are going to blow up, but it's going to be interesting here the next 4 months as we go through September and then into the fourth quarter of October, November, and December. Okay. Now, some of the numbers out there: 4.7 million forbearance borrowers roughly out of there. Now, out of that number, 3.4 million of them are government backed. So there's 1.7 basically forbearance agreements that aren't government backed that are basically going to be coming to an end, because the banks can't keep kicking the can down the road for 6 months, especially the non-government backed. They're like, look, we've got to do something. Now they may extend it for a period of time, but you're going to start seeing, especially some of these in areas where the borrowers have gotten difficult, you're going to start seeing the banks maybe not foreclosing, but the banks may be looking to move that stuff off of their books. The government stuff, I don't think they're going to worry about moving too much. But I think the non-government banks, so that's basically 1.3, 1.4 million loans out there that I think the piper is showing up and expects to get paid, okay? Now, if you think about that, they're 9% of the $1 trillion mortgage market. It's $1 trillion plus loans out there is in that ending of the forbearance agreements. That's where you have a huge dollar amount coming onto the market. All right, is this all making sense so far? 4.7 million forbearance, 3.4 of them are government backed. 6-month period is basically ending for the government, but they're willing to start it back up if borrowers ask for it. Non-government backed loans are probably the ones that are going to be hitting the hardest here, okay? Now let's talk about lots of distressed debt notes out there. So currently right now, we know it's a 7.76% default rate where borrowers are at least 90 days plus behind. Okay, that's currently, we know that number is probably newest numbers is not out yet for the end of July yet, but I would say that number is going to get worse for a couple of reasons. Okay. When you look at the Q2 Bauer Financial list that we pull, Bauer Financial is a bank rating system that evaluates credit unions and banks. They go and they pull the quarterly reports that the banks file with the FDIC, and then they look at it because the banks are disclosing what's in default, what they have out there. So the thing that we do is we don't really target banks that have 1 or 2 branches. They're just really too conservative for the most part. But we do look at banks that have at least 5 branches or greater, 5 or more branches, because they're starting to get a little bit of a overhead. They have a little bit of a footprint that they need to kind of, they're more lenient on their lending a little bit, okay? Now, if you look at the Q2's numbers that we got in June, there's 1,974 total banks on the total individual institutions across the board on the spreadsheet. And FYI, we give this list with our Note Weekend students. It's an actual bonus that we throw in there for everybody. Okay. Now, if you take it and re-rank it by rankings and throw out the banks with a 4-star or 5-star, not saying that they don't have debt, because we know that 4-star and 5-star, there's distressed debt on their books too. But let's just look. Let's narrow in and focus on the ones that are not ranked higher. So if you look at a 0-star all the way up to 3.5 stars, it's not much. But basically 99 banks, okay? About 5% of all the banks out there are at 3.5-star rating or less, okay? Even down to 0 stars. There's this 1 0-star, some 1s, some 2s, some 3s, some 3.5s. Anything below that, because that's going to be the ones that really have the most trouble. Now, that's not a huge amount. 99 banks, it's like 99 bottles of beer. 99 banks with distressed debt on the wall, 99 banks with distressed debt. Take one down, pass the assets around, 98 banks with debt on their books. You know, that's total ad lib. I may have to redo that. But anyway, I won't quit my day job. But 99 banks, that's not too difficult. That's technically could be 2 to 3 days of dialing in specifically to call these banks and reach out to them, okay? Now, on the average of those 99 banks, they have an average portfolio default of 17.16% across the board on average. Ouch. Some less, some higher. But that's, ouch. That's really bad, okay? That's double the national average if you think about it, of their portfolio. 17.16% of their portfolio is 90 days in default or greater, okay? Now, if you look at that total number of 90-day plus defaults, it's $2.56 billion in loans. Okay. Now, an additional, this is why I say that 7.76 number is going to get worse, because they have an additional out of these 99 banks, 687 million in loans that were 30 to 89 day defaults as of June. So you really expect a 3.4, 3.2, somewhere around there, where you have some serious defaults. Okay, it's July, August, especially we get to the end of this month. That number, when we come up with a new report here soon, that number is going to get worse. So that's why I say that 7.76 is going to get worse. But that's just on these 99 banks, okay? Now, you look at what their portfolio is on Bauer List. Bauer List actually will tell you who's got defaulted non-performing single-family resident loans, 1 to 4 resident, okay? Out of that amount, it's 574 million of that number out of 2.56, okay, is in just the resi side. The rest is in the commercial side. That's still a tremendous amount. Now, breaking it down a little bit further, it's a total of 1,007 individual branches across this country, okay? The average bank that is in this distress state has roughly about 10 banks, and it's spread over, but not limited to 34 states. When I looked at the home office that Bauer List gives us, it gives us 34 individual states on these 99 banks, okay? That's a pretty good footprint of distressed debt across the country. Can we agree to that, everybody? That's what, over 65% of the state of the country. Now, let me draw that number back. We wouldn't say 65% of the country. That's not, I don't want anybody thinking that. But I'm saying there are assets in just about the most popular states out there. Now, that's not including if that bank is lending in multiple states. I just basically took, okay, we got, what are the states on the filter? I didn't have time to go through and check with all 99 banks, the states, their thing, but we do know there's over 1,000 branches. Now, give you a comparative at that, Bank of America has over 5,000 branches, okay? Has roughly about $9 billion in distressed debt, okay? But that means to me, when I see this, this means a lot of opportunity, okay? And there's some big guys and some smaller guys in that list as well too. I think the biggest branch, the bank with the biggest amount of branches is like over 50 branches. To me, that screams blue light special, everybody, okay? Hey, blue light special on distressed debt, blue light special on commercial mortgages, blue light special tonight, shoppers. That's what comes to mind with that, and that's kind of where we came from that. So does this number so far make sense? You guys want to know, does this make sense on where I'm going with this? I think so far. I'm just trying to show you off that 99. Now, if you wanted to pull the whole bank list from one branch up, it'd be a lot more banks, it'd be a lot more expensive list. I don't want to target banks that have just one branch because it'd be pretty dang conservative. They can't take a big loss. So they're going to be the ones that do end up going through and foreclosing and taking the asset back or trying to be flexible. It's not saying you can't buy from them, but I just want to deal with bigger pool. And I want to make it a smaller pool for me to be able to reach out. But does that make sense, everybody? So far where we're going with this, I think it does. 34 states are represented across 1,007 branches. $574 million in non-performing single families. The rest is in basically 2.1 or just under $1.9 billion in commercial loans out there of all types of asset classes. Okay. Now, when should you start contacting these asset managers? When should you start contacting these banks? And I think you won't be surprised when I say now. You should start contacting these banks now because, hey, they had their 6-month window. They've taken their summer vacations. They've been, okay, we've dealt with it working from home, but you should start contacting these asset managers now. This is why we pushed off doing a calling banks things in July to push it to August because we knew the opportunities. I have a method to my madness. Ha, ha, ha. But anyway, you should start contacting these now. Think about this. Now, how are you going to reach out to them? Look, a variety of ways. Make the connections now because maybe they won't sell this quarter, but they will in the fourth quarter. And you want to start making that connections. You want to start putting that system. We're not talking 5,000 banks, everybody. We're talking literally 99. Now, out of the calls out here, maybe only 5% of you guys will do this. All right? Maybe less. But start making the connections down. Jump on LinkedIn and tracking down those bankers with the direct messages to them. See if they have a LinkedIn profile. If they don't, jump on and look for commercial special assets manager, secondary marketing departments, a whole loan trading desk for these companies, these banks. All right, you should be able to find somebody that falls in one of those 3 categories on all of these 99 banks. In the short hour and a half we were spending on this earlier today, we found quite a few. Now, if you are looking for more specific names, here's a little bit more creative aspect to maybe get directly to the decision maker, okay? You could go to the county, and I'm willing to bet that every one of the banks, when they list, say, their main office is located in, let's just say, Kansas City, Missouri. You can go to that county. I would go in that county, and I would look for assignment of mortgage, AOMs, with that institution name. Because on the assignment of mortgage is going to be what? There's going to be the person that signed off on it, had it notarized, that took the transfer of them assigning that note to some other institution. And now you've got a name. Now you have the name at that bank in that county, knowing that, okay, this is probably the right person I need to reach out to, or one of the decision makers to put me in touch with the right person, okay? Now, if you're not going to do that, and you do have a foreclosure list that comes out monthly in your county, you may want to purchase the foreclosure list and look for whoever the foreclosing attorney is on that asset and reach out to them to see if they'd be willing to make an introduction for you, or being willing to see if they would put you in touch with that person with the idea that you want them to continue their legal aspect of things. That's one thing we've done in the past, okay? Or here's another thing that you could do. Reach out to experienced commercial realtors or experienced commercial title reps in the local county and say, hey, do you know the person trying to track down the head asset manager at Beal Bank? And I know if you'd have a connection with somebody at Beal Bank or Bank of the Orient or Bank of the West, all right, or the Bank of Washington County, all right, in the areas of those banks. This making sense? Why title reps? Because title reps in the local county often know all the names. They're dealing with foreclosures. They're dealing with asset sales. And your commercial realtors or commercial title reps are usually the most experienced and savvy people in those locations, okay? Let's see, Chris Tao. And Chris, just email me at scott@weclosenotes.com, okay? Just email me at scott@weclosenotes.com is what you would need to do, all right? So here's the thing. It's like I said, if you're looking in the counties for the AOMs, for the banks, do search by the bank name, the lender name, all right, and the county recorder. And the AOMs would be under the recorder or the clerk office, not the appraisal district. We'll talk all about something later on here in a second. Or look at the foreclosure attorneys, okay? Or look for the commercial realtors or commercial title reps in that local county for an office. Hopefully you've got a relationship with a local title company that you can talk to, okay? Hope that makes sense for you. All right, moving on here. Let's go through this. All right, so now there are other ways to find some commercial lenders out there, commercial properties. Now, a company that has really kind of bounced back up with everything going on is 10X Commercial. This is a website that lists notes for sale. There's other ones out there, but we're just going to use 10X tonight as an example of some of the things that you could do to find other assets out there, okay? All right, good stuff. All right, now 10X here, that's their sign. They used to be known as, this is auction.com, but 10X is their commercial side to the thing, okay? Now, one of the things when you go to 10X, let me give you an example. Let me share my screen here. Let me share, because I just had this pulled up. All right, so if we do this, so if we go to, all right, here we go. 10X, and I just typed in, it's free to log in, doesn't cost anything. I said all property types, and I said Texas, okay? Now, the beautiful thing is right off the bat in here in Austin, Texas, is this Hyatt Place, Austin Arboretum, starting bid at $4 million. Anyone want to buy a hotel in Hyatt in Austin for $4 million? So I want to try to track down who the lender on this deal is so I can see about possibly buying their debt or see if they have any other things, right? That's what I want to do, okay? So I'm going to click on over Travis County here. Whoops. First thing I'm going to go to, let me just do this. It's probably easier to do this. Just go to netraonline.com. All right. Netra Online, public records online. This is the county records. Okay. Free website, Netra Online is. This is in Travis County, or you pick the county, see if they've got anything in your local state or anything like that. And the whole goal of this isn't to target that hotel, but to target the lender who, if they've got one thing, they're probably going to have some other stuff. If they're already looking to move, they're trying to sell that asset. Okay, the Travis County Appraisal District, I'll click there, go to Data Online. Yeah, okay, making sure you guys can still see my screen. The address is what, 3612 Tudor. 3612 Tudor. There you go. And here's the owner's name, BVLCP Austin Investment, okay? And the appraised value is $15 million. If that doesn't tell you that their appraised, the tax appraised value says 15 and they're selling the note for 4 million, that's what, 20, 30 cents on the dollar, roughly? Oh. Okay. Okay. So BVLCP Austin Development, Austin Investment. So I'm going to copy that. Now I'm going to go back to the clerk because I'm going to look to see who financed that deal now. The Travis County Clerk or the Recorder's Office in other areas. So I'm going to click on go to Data Online. I'm going to go to the real estate side. Most of the time they're free. It doesn't cost anything in on here. We'll just hit Party List. And that's the thing. on the real estate stuff, it'll look, I'll just type in on this county here, which is really nice. BV Austin Investment Group right there. Oh, wait, there's others. BV Dallas, San Antonio. I wonder if they have a portfolio. Okay. All right. So now here's where you see Wilmington Trust, Starwood Mortgage. Okay. This is 2015 transfers. You see the deed of trust. So this property was financed from Starwood Mortgage Capital. Ding, ding, ding there. All right. And then it looks like this was a UCC. Let's click on that and view the UCC back in 5 years ago. JPM, BB Commercial Mortgage Securities Trust. Okay. All right. Or here we go. Name and secured party record. Okay. Starwood Mortgage Funding, LLC. That's who financed this purchase then. Starwood Mortgage Funding. Okay. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go Google Starwood Mortgage Fund. Starwood Mortgage Capital, my apology. And lo and behold, guess what we have here? We've got a website for the institution that financed this note. Okay. Starwood Mortgage Capital right there. All right. And guess what? The team right here, boom. The chairman, Larry Brown, Rich Highfield, senior vice president, loan origination, capital markets, Jeremy Beard. Okay. Oh, maybe I'm making sure you guys can see this. So make sure here, new share. Yep, you guys can see that. All right. I'm going to click over on LinkedIn. I'm going to type in, I'm just going to type in Jeremy Beard, paste, Starwood. Right there. Out of greater New York area. And that's who I'd pick up the phone to give them a phone call, see if they got some other stuff. Because if they have one note, they probably got more. And if you want one for hotels and they owe 18 or 16 and they're selling it for 4, or owe 15 and selling it for 4, that might tell you might be able to pick up an asset relatively cheap. Now, obviously, $4 million is not a cheap asset, but still, if somebody's motivated to do that. Now, when I was looking for it earlier, I also did a search on that and found that they had also, BV has like a property in San Antonio, a property in Dallas as well there too. So it's like a hotel operation chain that's in trouble on all these assets. So one deal can potentially lead to other deals. Does this make sense for everybody? All right, I just blow your mind on that. That was just on that one asset that I found on 10X to find out who the lender is, on the background of it to see, okay, who's the lender, who financed this stuff, who's the originator. Okay, Bill goes, wow, you like that, Bill, huh? All right. I know, right? Donald said good stuff, exactly. All right, good. Just making sure you guys are paying attention. Tree says that's awesome. Okay, now the whole point is just to follow up with them with an email or reaching out on LinkedIn. Is 10X just commercial? Yeah, 10X is just commercial. They are the commercial side of auction.com, Bill. Okay, auction.com is the parent company. 10X is just the commercial side. Auction.com has a residential side. It's kind of a split between the two. Okay, but think about this. If you find other commercial notes, like you could go to exchange.loans, and if you find the address, search to see who the bank is. Use this warm asset to find out who the bank is to go from there. Now, here's the thing I want to bring back up here for you guys. Because when I was looking, when you look at the lender, going back here to this, Julianne says, can we see the seller info on auction.com? I've never, no. It won't, they won't tell you the seller because they don't want you to go around. This is why you've got to take the address, search the county, and then work it backwards, okay? Work it backwards. Because that's the thing. If they're going to sell that asset at $4 million, I'd be willing to bet they sell the note probably cheaper, okay? If they haven't foreclosed on it yet, okay? So, no. Can we see the seller info? Nope. Yeah, they're not, because auction.com makes its money, auction.com and TEDx, because they've got realtors involved with it, are listing the asset on behalf of a company. And we're not targeting specifically that asset. We're looking more so to see what else they have. Now, the thing is, when I click back on Starwood, I clicked on properties. I was like, oh, do they have some foreclosures on here? But it tells you the kind of loans that they've just done. So all property types, they originate loans on all property types nationwide, including office, retail, lodging, multifamily, industrial self-storage, mobile home parks, and mixed use, okay? And here's some of the most recent loans that they just did. A1 Stowaway in Yulee, Florida for $2.7 million. Holiday Inn Express, Chalmette, okay? Louisiana. I actually think that one's in default as well. It might be in default, but you can see some of the different ones. 101 Stanton in New York, New York. A lot of New York stuff here. Okay, Novi in Farmington Hills, Michigan. Haggerty Corporate Park. La Jolla Seaview. Oh, that's an office building. I think I might know that place. So Walgreens. Here's another storage, X92 in Hiram, Georgia. Okay, so they're doing some higher end stuff. They're not going to be doing $100,000. No, they're doing some higher end property. Okay, and the reason I want to make sure and talk this out is, this is kind of that cusp. That $4 million mark is below the $5 million mark that a lot of the commercial guys do, but they're willing to sell it for less. Hey, great. Might be an opportunity if you get some people together. Or, oh, look, they're actually selling Wells Fargo Place in St. Paul, Michigan. You want to buy a high rise for $80 million? Oh, no, I'm sorry. They finance that. Sorry, it's not distressed. But here they financed a Hilton hotel portfolio for $68 million. Okay. What I'm trying to get is, these are some of the ones that they've done. Now, I would call them and say, hey, I buy debt. What do you have in your books that you're looking to get rid of? Knowing they already have this property on right here, Hyatt Place. Okay. Now, another thing you'll find too, I just flipping through your site and I found these Playa Vista condos and additional land on Lake Conroe, starting bid at $1,050,000, and pulled it up the profile and looked at it. It's actually quite a few condos. If we click on here, it tells you what it is. But $1 million's not too big at all. 12 units plus the ability and the land, okay? 5 acres of land for offering development up to 112 new units, okay? And so I did that. I jumped on like I just did. I went to Montgomery County. I typed in the address. I found the borrower. I went and did a deed search to find out who the new lender is on this asset, because I'd pick up 38, 12 units, okay? 12 out of 38, and then an additional 5 acres of land to build on that stuff, if it makes sense right now. I wouldn't build right now, I would wait. But still, if I can make the 12 acres work, the 12 units work, if they say on the commercial debt, but if I could pick that up, say 50 cents on the dollar, hey, these are some nice high-end $200,000 units that if I could take it over and then let the borrower walk, I could be coming out smelling really good on the REO side of things. This making sense? And that's what I do. I would look in your city, or some of you guys are probably not even paying attention. You're like, oh, I'm on 10X, or I'm on exchange.loans. I'm trying to track down who the lender is on that stuff, okay? But I'm not going to go through these guys, because these are the realtors here, and 10X is going to try to sell it as much as they can. They're going to get paid a 5% transaction fee, or at least $25,000 minimum to sell the asset. Well, I don't want to deal with the asset. I really deal with the bank and either get it for a lot cheaper and cut out expenses, cut out all this BS back and forth. Give me some information, because they're talking about the property. They're not telling me the loan amount. But the idea is the lender would probably have some other things on their books, okay? So I would jump on, after I find the address, jump on Metro Online for the appraisal districts to find the borrowers, the current owner, okay? If it's an owner or the bank. If it's a bank, they've already foreclosed, okay, but still worth to pick up the phone, track down the asset manager, the secondary marketing, special asset manager, to see if they have anything else on their books they want to get rid of. Check the county deed, county records for any assignment of mortgage transfers, to find the person in charge there who is making the decisions or signing off on the loan sales, and then go that route, okay? Contact the bank institution for more details or to get on their list. Now, you need to check their website. I'd be checking on LinkedIn. I would be dialing for dollars to do that aspect if you found something that made sense for you, all right? Questions? Now, if you look at, actually, let me pull this up. Let me give you a bit of an idea here. So Bauer Financial, here you go. Here's the list for those. Come on, why is it stuck? So here you go. So we pulled up and we ranked them. You can see some of the names on here. FMT Bank, Bank of Louisiana. These are ranked in from 1-star ratings and beyond. Is it 1 star, 2 stars? For some reason, 3.5 stars came up next instead of 3, and then 0 stars at the bottom. Okay, 0 stars. But you can see over here what I mean by branches on a lot of this stuff. It's not the biggest branches, but they've got a lot of the distressed debt. They're unranked 5, 6, 10, 5, 7, 7, 23, 19, 15. Okay, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 47, 35, 33. Okay, great. I'll start with those. If I can make a relationship with a bank like that, maybe one of the just few relationships I have that has stuff, especially that needs to get off their books. And if you look at, see what I'm saying here, some of these banks on here, 57% of their net worth is in defaults. Okay. Some of these have lower default rates, but some of them have damn higher ones, 30%, 32, 5%, okay, 4%, 7%, 29, 36, 32, 32 and a half, okay, 29, 59.7% of the bank's net worth in distressed assets, okay? This is what I'm trying to get at. There's a wealth of information in this list, everybody, the banks. Now, these numbers on here that are part of it is just their generic customer service. I'm not going to call those. I'm going to be using the information I find to reach out, like I said, on LinkedIn to try to find the right person. I've already started working through this, and I just showed you in a few minutes there how to track that person down. So that's what I would be doing now, guys and gals. I would be spending time to do that. If you get signed up for Note Weekend, guess what? Note Weekend, you get the Bauer Financial, the full list of 1,784 banks. If you sign up for Note Weekend, guess what else you get? A ticket to the calling banks, then get $59. Literally, that's over $400 in extra bonuses right there thrown in if you sign up for noteweekend.com, everybody. But those are the activities I would be doing if I were all of you. And look, guys and gals, I know it can still seem daunting. Oh my God, 50 phone calls, or I got 100 banks. Look, I can still narrow that list down to 0. What's got the least amount of defaults, and then start with the highest number or the highest number of branches and work my way that way. You don't need to find a lot of deals. You don't need to have 100 banks in your assets over the next 6 months. If you have a couple that you can send it, you can reach out to, you can peek, you can start looking at these lists. And if you can negotiate the note sale to you, it's going to give you time, 30, 60, 90 days to move these assets or to find other people out there. So that's the big thing. What am I doing? I'm going to reach out to some condos, high-end stuff in Conroe, or I'm reaching out to different hotel groups, or I'm reaching out, especially if something's in my backyard here, I'll schedule an appointment and go walk the property and see, hey, can we convert this to apartments? What's the occupancy? What's it look like? How dead is it? Reaching out to a couple other funds out there that are in the hotel space. That, hey, you want to pick up some assets? Okay, who knows? All right, some opportunities and getting in at a point where you can buy the asset cheap enough that it would make sense. $4 million off a $15 million loan. Let's see if we can't make this thing run on the $4 million. It may be a point where we need to be at or less to get it operating. All right. Now, the thing is, too, I would do everything. I'm going to spend a $4 million loan. I'm going to jump online. I'm going to pull a list of asset managers, not a list of asset managers, sorry, a list of investors in the local area and really reach out to people. Hey, who's looking, who's wanting to jump in and putting a Reg D together or something like that really fast for a special purpose asset to make it happen. Okay. That's a whole nother story for another day. So, but that's what I wanted to talk about. 99 banks with debt on their books, 99 banks with debt. Take one down, look at the assets around, 98 banks with debt on their books. The crap my mind comes up with. Questions, comments, concerns for all of you guys that are out here tonight. It's good to see a lot of you. Remember, if you guys are part of the WCN membership, you get a ticket to the virtual workshop in a couple months. You get a ticket to our note weekends. You also get a ticket to the Calling Banks thing as well there for you guys. So a couple questions, comments. Donald, I like this one. Bruce asked, will you have a telephone dial-in phone number for your bank calling webinar? I will be away from a computer at the time you have the webinar. Yes, we use via Zoom. So that will be done via Zoom. And then what I do is I have my speaker here. So when I'm calling the banks, you can hear the speaker right next to Mike, so you can hear the conversation. So yeah, you could put it on the phone and listen. Now the thing too, Bruce, it's recorded. We record it via Zoom, and those that attend get the replay to watch the replay. So if you miss it, you can still watch it later on, okay? RM, drop me an email at scott@weclosenotes.com. It depends on what type of assets and stuff like this. Jeff says, I love this topic. Yeah, so do I, Jeff. So do I, okay? And like I said, 34 states. And just what we looked at, the 34 states of what those, that doesn't mean they're not in 48 states. That doesn't mean they don't have assets in other places, okay? So Jeff, you're in California. Let's look at something here real fast. There was quite a bit new share. Oh, maybe it would. Let me bring up 10X here, okay? Where are California investors? Let's look at California. Texas, change it to Cali. I'm going back to Cali, California. All right, and California had only 5 commercial properties. Okay, that La Jolla commercial. Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably one that would be pretty nice. And we got another question here from somebody, I think. Thanks, Bruce. Yeah, anytime. So there you go, online auction. Oh, this is a senior care facility with 5 duplexes in Paradise. This might be a decent one. Fully operating industrial land, Desert Vista. It's entitled, I don't think I want to do residential lots in Victorville. A Dollar Tree Center in Yuba City, Goodwill. So that's all it showed up here on this one for 10X. Oh, that other one was basically a loan that they'd financed, that Starwood had financed, Jeff. But same thing, you look at this stuff. Starting bid, what? Wait a second. 75,000, that number just has been dropped, okay? It's a vacant size, 9 acres, multifamily, opportunity to acquire 5 duplexes, 10 2-bed, 2 baths, and a former senior care facility, approximately 30,000 square foot on 9 total acres. Offering consists of 2 lots, both lots in the offering are zone multifamily. What? You're gonna still want to do your due diligence. See, they have, these are vacant, but they're duplexes. Crap. Oh, it needs a little work there. Yeah. Well, they haven't finished it. That's the reason. The heck, you could turn those duplexes, 75 grand in Paradise, California. P. Lewis says, so far you have my attention. Do you teach commercial short sales also? A short sale is a short sale. Whether it's residential, commercial, it's not that bad. I mean, commercial, when you're buying the debt, it's relatively pretty easy to do a short sale. So yeah, I mean, short sales are short sales. Okay. But that's an opportunity. I'm gonna have to look more into this one. All right. Look at those parcels. Okay. Cool. But you see what I'm saying, getting at everybody. I get excited about this. Yeah, offering is of 2 lots, both lots in the offering zone, multifamily residential, to redevelop the asset. Yeah, I mean, right there, community center. I'm gonna take a look at that. I'm gonna call my bank on that one. Oh, that's probably, thank you, Jeff Wolf. Paradise, California, you're right, had a huge forest fire in North Cal last year. Wiped it off the map. You know what? I bet that's why it's at 75 grand. Thank you. There's always got to be something. I was like, what? Let's see what we can decide. Paradise, California. We'll come back to this. That's why you always put eyes on an asset, not trusting something, but you still trust but verify. Yeah, Redfin. Yeah, I don't. I think it's. Does that look like burnt trees there? Yeah, I would. Yeah, I still take a look at it. Anyway, you're right. Thank you, Jeff Wolf. But that pisses me off that they're marketing something. Oh, here's what it looked like. They're just trying to get some poor sucker to bid on the damn thing. That really pissed me off. So, all right, everybody. But that's all I've got for you guys. If you want to get signed up for Note Weekend, you can do so. Like I said, it's 9 to 5, 9 to 6. If you just go to noteweekend.com, it'll be just yours truly teaching from 9 a.m. to roughly 5, 6 o'clock at night. We've already got quite a few people signed up for it. Otherwise, it's just $49 for you to be a part of it. The replays are included with that, so take advantage of it. I put the link in the chat roll for you guys if you're interested. If you're in the WCN crew, don't worry about it. Look for a link for me in the Basecamp group for you guys out there that's included for you. But any other final questions, comments, concerns? Like I said, guys, look, there are 99 banks in the wall. There are 99 banks that are really in trouble that are at 0 to 3.5 stars. There's a lot of 4 stars and a lot of 5 stars that had distressed debt, okay? But I would target the lowest hanging fruit, and that's where you go from. And literally, there's still, $2 billion in distressed debt there for you to take a look at, okay? There's not any other final questions or comments. Woo. I'm going to disappear on y'all here. But you can use the link noteweekend.com, get signed up. Otherwise, everybody, hopefully we'll see you Saturday. If not, have a great rest of your week. Be safe out there, stay healthy, and we'll see you all at the top, everybody.